Hi everybody, I'm Sandeep Gupta and in this video we'll be studying the Django framework. Now before we go into Django, let's understand what is a framework in general. So I can say a framework is basically a collection of some functions, some classes or some components which are already written to help you with your programs. Now in order to understand this, let's take an example of C or Java programming language. Let's say you are writing a program in Java or C, and let's say you want to find the square root of a number. Now, if you have ever done C or Java, recollect and tell me, have you ever written the code for finding the square root yourself? I don't think so. What you must have done is you must have used the pre-written sqrt function. Sqrt stands for square root. So what you do is you use the sqrt function and you find the square root of a number, and you are not bothered about the details of the sqrt function. That means you are not aware of its logic, its internal working and all. You just pass it some parameters and the function gives you some value, some answer. Now the same thing happens in a framework also. In a framework, there are many components, there are many functions which you can use for the development of your own programs. So that is what basically a framework is. It is a set of ready-made code which you can use for your own convenience. Now let's understand Django in little detail. To be more precise, I will say that Django is a web framework. Yes, it is used when you want to develop a website. Now in order to understand this, please remember one thing, that the internet works on the client-server model. Now what exactly that means? So what happens is that whenever you are on the internet, your computer is mostly the client computer, and your computer interacts with another computer which is a server. Okay. Now accordingly, a website is also divided into two portions, front end and the back end. The front end is that part of the website which runs on the client computer, and the front end of the website is normally coded using JavaScript, HTML and CSS. Yes, that's right. So whatever is there, whatever you see on the client computer, that is a result of these three languages, JavaScript, HTML and CSS. Now the back end of the website, the part which runs on the server, can be coded either in Java or PHP or Python. Okay, either of these three, not all of them. Now before I go a little further, let me just understand what happens at the back end. See, what happens is whenever you have a website, all the calculations part, all the operational part is done at the back end. So for example, let's say you are ordering some product on an e-commerce website like Amazon. So everything, all the calculations, the process of ordering, all that will be handled by the backend of the website, which will run on the server. And this backend will be coded either in Java or PHP or Python. Now let's say you are using Python to implement the backend. You have decided that you want to use Python to implement the backend, the logic of your website. So here the Django framework comes into picture. What happens is Django is a web framework, which means that if you want to develop the backend of any website using Python, you need to use Django. But let me also tell you, Django is not the only web framework in Python. Apart from Django, there is another popular web framework called Flask. But here we'll concentrate on Django. Now Django is used by many popular websites or apps, the most popular being Instagram. Yes, that's right. Instagram uses the Django framework. So that was a brief introduction about Django. Now let's get started. As explained earlier, Django is a web framework, which means that Django is used to develop a website. So guys, what we have done is, in this particular project, we have developed a website using the Django framework. Okay. Now let's see which website we have developed using the Django web framework. Now currently, see, I am not connected to the internet. We don't need internet for our website. Why? I'll let you know very soon. So now what happens is we have developed a website over here But what happens is that in the real world, every website is hosted on a server. But we don't have a server with us currently. So what we have done is we have hosted the website on our own computer, and our computer in this case will be called local host. Moreover, every website has a web address, for example, google.com, facebook.com, and so on. So that way, our website should also have a web address. So what is it? So look over it. I'll type localhost colon, I'll type localhost colon 8000. Yes. All right. So what you see over here, this one, okay, this is the web address of our website. Now over here, localhost is our computer, the name of our computer, and 8000 is the port number on which our website is hosted. Since it is our own computer, we don't need the internet for this. Okay, now I'll hit the enter key, see what happens. So this is the website which we have developed using Django. Now let me quickly explain you how this website works. Okay, try to remember its working so that later on it's not difficult for you. Now over here, this website is called poll application, where several questions are there, or I will say several polls are there, and you are supposed to vote for them. So for example, the first question over here is, which is world's #1 language? Language over here means programming language. Now let's say I click on vote over here. Now when I click on vote over here, there are several options over here: Python, JavaScript, Kotlin. So according to me, world's #1 language is JavaScript. So I'll click on it. Okay, and I'll submit my vote. I'll submit my poll. So I submit it. Now when I submit it, I see the poll result over here. So for example, 2 people have voted for Python, 4 for JavaScript, 0 for Kotlin, and that way total number of votes is 6. Now let's say I want to go back to the home page. Okay, so I go to the home page. Okay, now this is the next question: which language is not object oriented? So here, let's say I don't want to vote, I just want to see the results of this poll. So I'll click on view results. Okay, so I click on view results, and here are the votes. So there are a total of 3 votes, and all the 3 votes are for C language, because C language is not object oriented. Python and Java are object oriented, so nobody voted for them. Okay. Now let me go back to the home page, and please note over here, right now there are only 2 questions over here, 2 polls over here. Now let's say I want to create a new poll, a new question, so I'll click on create. Now over here I can give a new question, something like, let's say, which is the preferred language for developing Android apps. Okay, so the question says, which is the preferred language for developing Android apps? So there are several options over here. Okay, can you tell me which the options will be over here? Can you take a guess? So for example, one option is Java, another is Kotlin, okay, KOT, and let's say one more, Python. All right, and I click on submit. Look over here. Now when I click on submit, see what will happen. Okay, now this is the home page, and you see over here that this third poll is being added, which is the preferred language for developing Android apps. Now if I want, I can vote over here, see. Okay, so according to me, of late Kotlin is more preferred for developing of Android apps. If you ever want to study Android development, study it using Kotlin, not using Java. That's become old-fashioned now, studying it using Java. So I click on Kotlin and I click on submit. So now Kotlin has 1 vote, okay, Java and Python 0 votes. Okay, so this is basically our website, which we call poll application, which we are now going to develop using the Django Web Framework. Okay guys, now let's start with the implementation of this poll project. As I told you, I'll be teaching you Django and this poll project right from scratch. So have a look over here. This is my desktop, and on my desktop there is this folder called poll project. Now this website which you see over here, it was a result of this particular folder Pole project. So what I'll do is I'll purposely change its name to Pole project 1. So now see properly, now its name is Pole project 1. Now why I did this is because I'll be creating a new project, a new folder called Pole project right from scratch. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll close this particular website. Okay. I close it. Now in order to create the Pole project over here, I will first of all use one IDE called PyCharm. Now why we are using the PyCharm IDE, what are its uses and what convenience you'll get, that you'll understand very soon. So I have installed PyCharm and I will open it. Okay. So this is the PyCharm IDE. Okay. Now over here I go to open, and over here I select the desktop. So I open my desktop. Now instead of selecting the desktop, you could have selected anything else like C drive, D drive, or any other folder. Okay, it's up to you. So I open the desktop in PyCharm IDE. So I open the desktop. Okay. Now before I move further, there's something I want to tell you about this IDE. As I told you, it will be very convenient for you. Okay. Slowly I'll tell you all its advantages, the advantages of PyCharm. Now the first advantage of PyCharm over here is that you get to see the terminal, the command prompt in the same window as the IDE. For those who don't know, in your computer there is a window called command prompt. We call it command prompt on the Windows operating system and terminal on the MacBook. So if I want to open this terminal on MacBook, normally what we do is, normally we search for this terminal. Okay. Similarly, in Windows also you type command prompt or CMD and you hit the enter key. Okay. So now this black colored window which you see over here is called a terminal. Once again I am telling you that a command prompt of Windows and the terminal of MacBook is one and the same. So in my subsequent discussion, whenever I say terminal, I would mean command prompt for the Windows operating system. Okay, so getting to the point. Normally what happens is, if you want to work on the command prompt on the terminal, we open a separate window like this. Okay. But the advantage of using PyCharm IDE is that a command prompt, the terminal, is a part of the IDE. Okay. So very soon over here, look at the mouse pointer. Over here you will see the code. Over here you will see the directory structure, and you see the command prompt, the terminal over here, and this makes it very convenient. Okay. So now I'll close this one first and I'll work only with PyCharm over here. Okay. Now, if you want to work with a Django project, then obviously you need to install Django. Okay. So on your terminal, you will give this command pip install Django. Alright, pip install Django, and I hit the enter key. Now look what happens when I hit the enter key. By the way, before I hit the enter key, I just remembered something. See, before you install Django, before you give this command, please keep one thing in mind, that you need to keep your internet on over here. Okay. So as you see, my internet is on, because now what will happen, now when I hit the enter key, very soon you will see downloading of Django. See, you can see over here, Django is being downloaded. Okay, look over here. Let's wait for a while. Alright, it says installing collected packages, and the collected packages is Django. So now the installation is going on. Okay, and now it says, look over here, now it says successfully installed Django. Now in case you feel that Django is already installed, okay, and you just want to check whether it is installed or not, what you do is that you give the same command again. By the way, if you want to give the same command again, don't type the command again. just hit the up arrow key one more time. So hit the up arrow key and the same command will appear, pip install Django, and I will hit the enter key again. See what happens. Now when I hit the enter key once again, it will obviously not download Django or install Django once again. It will tell you something like this, requirement already satisfied. Okay, so till here what you have studied is you have installed Django on your computer. Now before moving further, I want to tell you something important. Listen to it carefully, otherwise you may get confused. Now if you have seen some other video on Django, then in those videos they talk about something called virtual environment. I repeat once again, virtual environment. Now what happens is many programmers, when they do a project on Django, they use this feature called virtual environment. But keep in mind, using the concept of virtual environment is not required for a Django project. If you still use this concept of virtual environment, what you will be doing is you will be complicating your project. Please understand one thing, that Django is already very difficult, and using virtual environment on top of that makes it more difficult. So that's why I have avoided this concept altogether. We will not be using this concept of virtual environment. If you don't know what it is, it's perfectly okay. We'll go ahead without understanding what it is. It is not at all required. Okay. So till here we have installed Django. Having installed Django, now let's create our project. But before that, let me clear this clutter on the terminal. So I'll give the command clear. Alright, clear, and I hit the enter key. Now I'll give the command Django dash, it's a hyphen, admin, start project, space. Now this is the syntax, Django dash admin start project. Now I'll give the name of the project, poll underscore project. You could have given some other name also, it's okay. Now before I hit the enter key, have a look at my desktop. So on my desktop currently you will see no folder called poll project. There is a folder called poll project 1. Okay, follow the mouse pointer. But there is no folder called poll project. So now I come back to PyCharm and I hit the enter key. Simultaneously look over here also. So I hit the enter key. Now when I hit the enter key over here, look over here, you will see a new folder called poll project. This is my old folder poll project 1, and this is the new folder poll project which was created because of this command. So we have successfully created the project folder. Let's just go inside this folder. So you will see there is a file called manage.py which we'll use very often. There is a subfolder of the same name, poll project, inside which there are 5 files. So we'll use these files after some time. Now as I told you in the beginning that using the PyCharm IDE gives us some convenience. Now what convenience? So let's see that also. Now I go to file over here and I click on open, and on the desktop now I open this folder poll project. Okay, now when I click on open, also have a look at the terminal. What is going to happen? So it is asking me, should I open the project in the same window or some other window? So I'll say same window, that means this window. So now what I have done is I have opened the poll project in PyCharm, and now I reopened the terminal. So I'll click on terminal. Now when I click on terminal, do you notice some change over here? See, in the terminal also the path has changed. Now through the terminal we are inside the folder poll project. Now one convenience of using the PyCharm IDE is that we can see the directory structure on this part of the screen. So look, what I mean is when I click over here, you will see subfolder poll project and manage.py. When I click over here, you will see the contents of the subfolder, the 5 files, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, alright. So till here we have created the folder poll project. Now let me open my Chrome browser, or for that matter you can open any browser, and let me give you that web address. Okay, let me give something like localhost :8000. I hope you remember what happened when we gave this address the last time. So localhost :8000, and I hit the enter key. Now when I hit the enter key, you will see that over here you cannot see any website, any web page. Okay. Now why is that so? I'll tell you very soon. But just one more thing, instead of giving localhost colon 8000, I could have also given something like 127. I would have given something like 127.0.0.1 colon 8000. Okay, and don't forget to put http colon / over here. Okay, and I hit the enter key once again, and when I hit the enter key once again, you will see again nothing is displayed over here. Now before I go into the explanation, let me just tell you one thing. Whether you write localhost or whether you write this 127.0.0.1, it is one and the same. Basically 127.0.0.1 is the IP address of our own computer, of the local host. So whether you give this number or you write localhost, it is one and the same. Okay, so now let's come to the point. Now what we want is, we want that whenever somebody gives localhost colon 8000, we should not get this thing. Okay, we should get this thing, the one which I had shown you in the beginning. Okay, this is our aim. By the way, this is just a photo, a snap of the website which I have taken already. Okay, this is not actually the Chrome browser. All right. So what you want is that when somebody opens the Chrome browser and gives this address, we don't want to see this. Okay. Now for that, what we need to do is we'll go to PyCharm again. Okay, our project is already open, and I'll give the command python 3 manage.py. Manage.py is this file. Okay, I hope you remember. Look at the mouse pointer. And after that space, I'll give run server, and I hit the enter key. See what happens when I hit the enter key. Now when I hit the enter key, in the end it will say, look at the second last line, it says starting development server at look at this address, http colon / this thing. Okay, and in the end it says quit the server with Control C. So now I'll go to the Chrome browser again, and over here I'll hit the enter key again, or I'll refresh this page again. See what happens now. Okay, so when I refresh the page, you see a proper web page like this, although you still don't see this thing. For seeing this thing, you'll have to do lots of coding, which obviously we'll do later on, but at least you see some proper web page over here. Now, what exactly this web page is and all that, I'll explain you very soon. But for time being, let's understand what actually this command did. Okay, this command which you gave, python 3 manage.py run server, let's understand this command. See, what happens is, if you want to run a website, if you want to host a website, you need a server. I had explained this to you in the beginning. Okay. Now, obviously, we don't have, we can't afford a server right now. So what we do is, we make our own computer behave as if it is a server. So for that, we need to give this command. So when we give this command tells our computer means localhost. This command tells our computer that, look, now you need to act as a server. Okay, and you need to host a particular website. And to be more precise, I will say that right now our computer is acting as a development server. See, what happens is, once the website is over, once it is actually hosted on the server, then that server, the real world server, is called production server. I repeat, production server. Okay. So the server on which Facebook is hosted, Amazon is hosted, is the production server. Whereas many a times while developing the website, we need a server just for testing purposes and so on. So that server is called development server. Development server is the one which is being used while the website is being developed. Okay. So currently what is happening is, this command python 3 manage.py run server is making our computer behave as if it is a development server. And that's why now when you give this localhost colon 8000, you got to see this. In fact, you could have also given something like http colon / 127 and this, and you will still see the same page. Okay, you'll see the same page. Okay, now let me just explain you what this page is. So I will say this page which you see over here is the default Django website. Okay, this website is given to you by default by the Django Web Framework. Now what is our aim over here? Okay, putting it in simple words, our aim is to convert this web page from this to this. And for this we'll have to do lots and lots and lots of coding. Alright, so right now we are starting here and we'll be finishing over here. This is what we intend to do. Alright. Okay, one more thing is, now currently our computer is working as a server. Now if you want to stop this server, okay, then you need to give Control C. Alright, so I'll hit Control and C. One second. I'll hit Control and C. And when I hit Control C, look over here, you got to see the prompt again. You see the cursor blinking again. Okay, which means now our computer is no more acting as the server. If you still want to see this, what I can do is I can refresh this page. See what will happen. See, when I refresh this page again, you see the same thing which you saw in the beginning. So this means now our computer is no more acting as a server. So to stop the server, you give Control C, and to start the server, you give this command Python 3 manage.py run server. And once again, manage.py is nothing but a name of this file. And yeah, one more thing. Now look at this directory structure over here. Okay, this is the outer folder Pole project. This is the inner folder Pole project. This is manage.py. You can clearly see that one more file got added over here, which is called db.sqlite3. Now this file has something to do with the database, and it gets added when you run the server for the first time. Okay, what is its relevance and all that we'll see later on. Now what we'll do is we'll give the command Python 3 manage.py, okay, and then I'll write start app and then any name, let's say Pole. Now what exactly this does is that we'll see very soon, but for time being, this thing Python 3 manage.py start app is the command, and this is the name Pole. You could have given any other name over here. Now let's first see what this does and then I'll explain you. So now what I'll do is first have a look over here. Now this is the outer folder Pole project, inside which you have inner Pole project, you have db.sqlite3 and you have manage.py. Okay, I'll just close this folder. So to close this directory structure, I'll just click over here. Okay, remember that currently there are three things inside the outer Pole project. The inner Pole project is db.sqlite, this db.sqlite3 and this manage.py. Now I close this. Okay, now I'll hit the enter key over here. Okay, so I hit the enter key. Well, you don't see any action over here, but now I again expand this directory structure and see what will happen. What do you see new over here? So you can clearly see that there is a subfolder called Pole over here. So when I gave the command start app Pole, what this command did is it created a subfolder called Pole, inside which there are certain files and folders which we'll see later on. Okay. Now what exactly is this app Pole? Now first of all, let's understand one thing clearly. Many students have a misconception over here. Now normally we use the word app in cell phones, but the meaning of the word app in Django is not the same which we use on the cell phone. Okay, on cell phone we have apps like Facebook, Amazon and so on, but that is not the meaning of the app in Django. So what does app mean in Django? In Django, an app is anything which contains some code. So that anything could be a folder, it could be a Python file, it could be a function, or it could be a class. So when I gave this command start app Pole, what happened over here is this command created a folder called Pole, inside which all these files are already there. Now all these files, the most important one is this views.py. Okay, we'll be writing our main logic over here very soon. Okay, Alright, now what next? Now what we'll do is, now inside this poll, we'll create one folder called templates. So how do we do that? So I right click on this poll, okay, I right click on this poll, see, one, okay, I right click on this poll and over here I go to new and I go to directory, alright, and I give the name of the directory templates. Keep one thing in mind, the name must be templates, not anything else, okay. So I give the name templates. So as you see over here, see inside poll you have templates. Now what next? Little confusing, pay attention. Now I go inside now I click on templates and inside templates I'll create one more folder, that means directory. Folder and directory means one and the same. So, and any guess what the name of this folder could be? Well, surprisingly, it will be poll. Yes. All right. So see, what we have done is this command startup poll, it created this folder called poll. Inside poll, I have created a folder called templates, and inside templates, I have created a folder called poll. Okay. Now what next is, I will keep one HTML file inside this poll folder. Okay. Now how do I do that? So have a look at this particular file. This is a normal Python file. Its name is average.py. So what I'll do is I'll just click on this and I'll rename it. So I'll give it a name home dot html. Now right now don't wonder, don't think why am I doing all this. All this will make sense after some time. So basically what I did is I had a Python file, or you can take any file and you change the name of that file. Now I click on enter key. So when I click on enter, it says that are you sure you want to change the extension from .py to .html? So I'll say yes, use .html. So now it has become an HTML file. Now I'll open it using normal notepad. So on the MacBook, the notepad, similar to notepad, I have something called text edit. Now don't forget, this was originally a Python file, okay. So what I do is I erase all this, okay, and over here let me just increase the font size. And over here I will give something like H1. H1 stands for heading 1, alright, H1, and I can write something like poll application. By the way, after some time I'll be teaching you a little bit of HTML also. So if you don't know what is this H1 and all, no problem, that's okay, alright. And this is the way I close H1, okay. So over here, this thing which you see over here, for time being it is called HTML element, or I can say HTML H1 tag, okay. And I save this, okay. Alright, now I have created a file home.html. Now where do I save this file, where do I store this file? So what I do is I copy this, I click on copy, yeah, and see, this is the folder poll project, okay, which we have been developing. So inside poll project you have poll. Inside poll, which folder did we create just now? Yes, it was templates. Inside templates, which one did we create? Yes, it was poll. So inside this poll I'll keep this home.html, alright, and I'll delete it from here, okay. So don't forget where to keep this. You should keep this inside the inner poll, okay. So once again, see, this is, once again, this is our poll project. Inside this we have poll, alright, templates, poll, and home.html. By the way, because this is an HTML file, you will see the sign of the Chrome browser or any other browser over here. And you can see the same thing in your directory structure also now. See, this is your poll project. This is the poll, this is templates, this is poll, and inside poll you have home.html. Now why we did all this, I'll explain you very soon. Now let's do one more thing, and then the settings part will be over. Now this is the poll project, inside which there is one more folder called poll project, this one. So now I'll go inside poll project, okay, and I'll open this file called settings.py. So I open settings.py, okay. Now if you see over here these all what you see in green color, they are comments, okay, and then there are many more things written over here. There is this code which is already there. Now over here you will see something like installed apps equal to, okay. So what I'll do is, listen to this carefully, pay attention to this. Many students forget doing this. They do everything correctly, but they do this small mistake because of which their website, their app does not run. So now what I'll do is, I will go to this line number 40, okay, and on line number 40 I will write the name of the new app which I have created. So tell me, which is the new app which we have created? It's poll, okay. The folder over here is called app. So within single quotes, okay, so within single quotes I'll write poll, and don't miss the comma over here. So I'll put one comma, okay. See carefully, within single quotes I put poll and then also a comma, and then save the file. So for saving the file you can go to file and then over here save all, okay. Now once this is over, we are done with the settings part of Django, but many more things are yet to be done. Now before we move ahead, let's take some time and talk a little about HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. I hope you must be knowing that HTML is the backbone of every website, every web page. You can develop a website without Python, but you cannot develop a website without HTML. Now what happens is, every web page which you see on the internet is actually the result of the HTML. Now let's understand this. So this is my website, studycircle.org, okay, study-circle.org. This is the home page. Now I'm about to click on downloads. See carefully what will happen over here. Now when I click on downloads, obviously a new page will open. Now what is important over here is this thing. Now over here you see the name of a file, downloads.html. See carefully, okay, this is the name of an HTML file, downloads.html. Now what really happened is that when I clicked on this downloads, this file downloads.html got executed, and what you see over here, all this is the result of the HTML code which is there inside this file. If you want, we can even see that code. So I can go to view, I can go to developer and view source. So this is basically the HTML code. This HTML code when executed results in this particular web page. Alright. So basically everything you see on the internet is the result of execution of some HTML code. Now why am I saying all this? So let's understand that with respect to our Django project. Now I will open a new tab in over here in Chrome, and I will give this just wait a minute, I'll just start the server first. So what I need to do is, I'll come to this terminal on PyCharm and I will give this command. I'm just pressing the up arrow key now. So I'll give the command python3 manage.py run server. I hope you remember that this will make our computer a development server. Okay, so now the server has started. Okay, now I'll come over here to Chrome and I'll give the same thing, localhost :8000. I'll hit the enter key. Now I hope you remember that when you give this localhost :8000, you see this default Django web page. This is the default web page which Django has given us. Now what is it which we want? Please listen to this carefully. Now what we want is that when we give this localhost :8000, we should not see this Django default web page. We should see the outcome, the execution of the file home.html. I think you will remember that inside this folder Pole project, there is a folder Pole, inside which there is templates, inside which there is Pole, and inside Pole, I hope you will remember, we have created one HTML file, which is that it's home.html. Okay, now let me just execute this file. So if you want to execute any HTML file, just right click on it and you can open it with Google Chrome. Okay, so now when I open it with Google Chrome, you see the outcome of the code which is inside that file. Okay, so once again what I'll do is, now I'll open it using text edit. Be attentive please. So when I open it using text edit, you will see this code. See, this is the code, this is the HTML code, and the outcome of this HTML code is this web page. Okay, I hope you understand this. Okay, now what is it which we want? What we want is that when somebody types localhost colon 8000, okay, we should not see this default web page of Django. We should be able to see the outcome of home.html. Now, how exactly we should do this? How to achieve this? So let's understand that. Now for this, first of all, I'll come back to the terminal and I'll close the server. So for that, Control C, the server is closed. Okay. Now let me clear all this. Not required, but still better to clear the clutter. Okay. Now what next? Now what I'll do is, see, now this is my directory structure. Follow the mouse pointer. I'll go in the Pole project. Then I'll go in this inner Pole project, and I'll open the file urls.py. So this one. Now in this file some code is already there and I'm going to add some more code. Now let me just tell you one thing. Whatever we are going to do next, okay, that thing is called URL routing or URL routing, whatever you call it. Okay. So for achieving this URL routing, we are going to do some coding over here. First, I will do the coding and then I'll explain you what exactly I did. Okay, so just stay with me right now. Don't wonder too much what exactly is going on. So in this file, some code is already there. Now on line number 18, I'll give from Pole import views as Pole underscore views. Okay, so this is the import statement. Now on line number 21, I will use a function called path. So I'll give path. Now path can take either 2 or 3 parameters. All right. So over here, the first parameter will be an empty string. Okay, see carefully, this is an empty string. Followed by the second parameter will be Pole underscore views, okay, dot home. So this Pole underscore views dot home, this Pole underscore views is nothing but this thing which we have imported. I'll give you the detailed explanation very soon. Alright, and the third parameter is optional, so that will be name equal to home, and don't forget to put a comma over here, so I'll put a comma also. Okay, so basically this is the function path. The first parameter is empty string, the second parameter is Pole underscore views dot home, and the third parameter is name equal to home. Now what I'll do is, I will go to this app, this folder called Pole. Inside Pole, I will locate the file, look at this views.py, and I'll open this. So this is views.py. Again, some code is already over here. Now I'll add one more code, some code here. Now over here, what I'll do is, I will create a function. Now I hope you remember how to create a function. So for that, I'll write define the name of the function home. Okay. And this home will take a parameter called request. Okay, don't forget to put the colon, sometimes I forget. Now in this, I'll create a dictionary called context. So this is a dictionary. I hope you remember what a dictionary is. We already studied this. So I'll create a dictionary called context, which is right now empty. Okay, I'll fill it after some time, and then I'll write return render. Render is the name of a function which is imported over here. See, okay, render. And okay, now this function render will also take three parameters. The first parameter is request. Okay, the third parameter is context. Okay, now right now I'll not explain you much about the first and the third parameter. We are right now interested in this second parameter. Okay, so the second parameter will be a string, or to be more precise, I will say it is the path, it is an address, pole slash home.html. Okay, all right. Okay, so I hope you will understand automatically that what you see over here is actually the path of this HTML file. Look, this one. Okay, so this home.html is inside the pole folder, okay. And now I'll just go over here and I will do save all. Okay, all right. Now I'll start the server. Okay, now pay good attention to this. Something different is going to take place. If you remember, this is a default web page which Django provides us. Okay, and you get this default web page when you give localhost colon 8000. Now in the last few minutes I did some coding, and now what I'll do, I'll refresh this web page. Okay, see what is going to happen now. So I refresh it. Okay, did you notice something? Now when I refresh the web page, I get the contents of home.html and not the default web page. And these content I got to see home.html because of the coding which I did. Okay, so now I'll explain you in great detail what exactly I did. By the way, what I'm going to explain you, okay, what happened over here is called URL routing. Okay, so let's understand. Let's start. Pay attention. It's quite difficult. See, now what happened over here is when the user gives localhost colon 8000 and when he hits the enter key, the moment he hits the enter key, URL routing starts. Okay, now what happens is the moment user hits the enter key, the Django framework comes into the action, and the Django framework starts searching the file urls.py. So the Django will come inside this file urls.py. Now in this file what we have done is we have written from pole import views as pole underscore views. Now I hope you remember we had studied the import statement. Okay, if you have forgotten how it works, let me quickly tell you what statement number 18 is doing. See, now from pole, so from pole is over here, this pole, this one. Okay, so it says from pole import views. So inside this pole, I hope you remember, see, I'll close the entire directory. Now inside pole project there is this pole, and inside this pole, look at the mouse pointer, there is a Python file views.py. So when we say from pole import views, what happens over here is, what Django will do is, whatever content is there in this views.py, that gets imported in our file urls.py. So in simple words, I will say over here copy paste takes place. Okay, so see, this is views.py, its content is copied and it gets pasted over here. Okay, but one more thing, now over here I am writing something optional. I am writing as a pole underscore views. Okay, I am writing as pole underscore views over here. So what does this mean? First of all, it is optional. Even if you don't give, it's okay. But basically what we are doing is we are telling Django that we are importing the code from the file views.py, and that code will be now called pole underscore views. So instead of calling it only views, we are calling it pole underscore views. Okay. Now some of you may wonder why we did this. So simple reason is, if you understand this, it's okay, and even if you don't, that is also fine. See, what happens is, in some very big projects there are multiple files called views. Okay, so to keep a distinction, what we do is, when we import these files, we give them different names. So we may give them name as pole underscore views, pole 1 underscore views, pole 2 underscore views, and so on. So right now in this project it does not make big difference, but in some very big projects we may need to use this concept of as. Anyway, so till here what line number 18 has done is, it has imported the code of views.py, and that code will be now called pole underscore views. Now what next? Now what Django does is, it now looks at this list URL patterns. If you look at this list, if you look at line number 19 closely, you will realize that in line number 19 we have created a list, and that list is called URL patterns. Now inside this list there are several functions, okay, or I'll say there are several function calls, and basically every time we are giving a call to a predefined function called path. Okay, by the way, this path is imported in line number 17 and we are using it in line number 20, 21 and so on. Now listen to the next thing very carefully. Okay, I'll again start from the beginning. Okay, I'll have to go to the beginning again and again. See, what has happened is, the user gave localhost :8000 and the user has hit the enter key. On hitting the enter key, what Django did is, it came inside the file urls.py, and inside this file it will search a function path whose first parameter is an empty string. Okay, I repeat, when the user hits the enter key, Django comes inside this list, inside this file, and it will search for a function path whose first parameter is an empty string, and that is nothing but line number 21. What really happens over here is that this empty string which you see over here, this empty string actually corresponds to localhost :8000. I repeat, this empty string is actually corresponding to localhost :8000. Okay. So till here what you understood, that Django has now located this particular function path. Now in this particular function path, it will see something like, the second parameter is pole underscore views dot home. So what does this mean? What we are doing is, we are telling Django that, look, now from urls.py you go to the function home of pole underscore views. Now don't forget, pole underscore views is nothing but this views.py. So now what Django will do is, it will go to function home of the file views.py. So that means it will go here. Okay. Now let me very quickly tell you how the routing has taken place till here. So the user has hit the enter key. Django came inside urls.py. It saw this thing, the empty string which corresponds to localhost :8000, and now we are telling Django to go to function home of views.py. So now Django has come to this function home. Okay. Now in this function home, the last statement says return, and in return we are giving a call. In return we are giving a call to function render. Now this function render takes three parameters. The first is request, the third is context. Now what is request, what is context, that I'll explain you later on. Leave them right now. Let's talk about the second parameter. Now Django has come to this file, to this function home. Now in this function home, this second parameter is again telling Django to do something. It is telling Django that now go to the file, or now execute the file home.html, which is inside the pole app, which is inside the pole folder. So what we are telling is that, look Django, there is this folder called pole. Inside pole you have templates. and inside templates you have this inner pole, and in this inner pole there is home.html. So we are telling Django that you go to this particular home.html and you execute this file. So now what Django does is, from here it goes to this home.html. See, this is home.html and it executes its content, because of which you see this output. So this entire procedure, right from the time the user hits the enter key till you see this output, this entire procedure is called URL routing. Okay. So you understood how we got this particular web page. Just understand one more thing. Now what we are going to do is, slowly we are going to add too much of code in this home.html, and after we add all the code in home.html, the output will not look like this, okay, not like this, it will look like this. So that code is yet to be added. What I explained you just now is called URL routing. Okay, I hope this concept was clear to you. If it is not, listen to the video, watch this part of the video once again.